Victoria Sterling stood outside the small elementary school, feeling completely out of place. At 58, she'd built Sterling Technologies into a billion-dollar empire. She commanded boardrooms, negotiated with world leaders, made decisions that affected thousands of lives. But standing here, watching children pour out of classrooms, she had no idea what to do. The principal had called her office that morning. There had been an incident involving a student named Maya Torres. The girl's father couldn't be reached. His emergency contact, Victoria's name and number, had been listed in the school files. Victoria had never heard of Maya Torres. "Miss Sterling?" A harried principal approached. "Thank you for coming. I know this is unusual." "I think there's been a mistake," Victoria said. "I don't know any Maya Torres. Her father is Daniel Torres. He works in your building's maintenance department." Victoria vaguely remembered the name. Night janitor, maybe? She employed 300 people. She couldn't know them all. "What's the emergency?" "Maya had a meltdown during recess. She's calmed down now, but we can't reach her father. His phone goes to voicemail." "You're listed as secondary emergency contact, though I'm not sure why." Neither was Victoria. The principal led her to a small office where a girl sat curled in a chair, rocking slightly. She was about 8, with dark hair covering her face, her hands flapping rhythmically. "Maya?" the principal said gently. "This is Miss Sterling. She works with your father." The girl didn't look up. Victoria had no experience with children, none, but something about the girl's distress pulled at her. "Can I sit?" Victoria asked quietly. Maya's rocking slowed slightly, not quite permission but not refusal either. Victoria sat down, keeping distance between them. "I'm Victoria. Your dad works at my building. Do you know why I might be your emergency contact?" "Papa said you're nice," Maya whispered to the floor. "He said you smile at him in the elevator." Victoria tried to remember. Did she smile at the janitor? Maybe. She tried to acknowledge people, though honestly, most days she was too buried in her phone to notice. "The other kids were too loud," Maya continued, her voice flat. "They kept touching me and asking questions, and it was too much noise and I couldn't make it stop." "So you got upset," Victoria said. "That makes sense." Maya finally looked up, surprise in her dark eyes. "The teachers said I was bad, that I need to control myself." "That's not fair," Victoria replied. "Everyone has limits. Sounds like yours got exceeded." "Papa says I'm not broken, just different. I have autism." "Different isn't bad," Victoria said. "I'm different too. I see patterns in data that other people miss. I get overwhelmed by loud social events. I prefer clear, direct communication to small talk." Maya studied her. "Really? Really? Your brain works in its own way. That's not broken, that's just you." For the first time, Maya's rocking stopped completely. When Daniel Torres burst through the school doors 20 minutes later, he was frantic. "I'm so sorry, my phone died and I was in the basement fixing pipes and I didn't see the messages." He stopped when he saw Victoria sitting calmly while Maya showed her a drawing. "Miss Sterling?" Daniel looked bewildered. "What are you doing here?" "Apparently I'm Maya's emergency contact," Victoria said, "though we should probably discuss why." Daniel's face flushed. "I can explain. When I filled out the school forms, they required 2 contacts. I don't have family nearby. My ex-wife isn't in the picture. I was desperate, and I remembered you were kind to me once when I was having a rough day, so I just—" He looked mortified. "I'm so sorry. I'll remove your name immediately." "When was I kind to you?" Victoria asked, genuinely curious. 6 months ago. I was cleaning the executive floor late. My daughter had just been diagnosed and I was crying in the stairwell. You asked if I was okay, sat with me for 10 minutes while I explained about Maya, about how scared I was that I couldn't give her what she needed. You told me she was lucky to have a father who cared so much." Victoria had a vague memory of this. Late night, stressed janitor, quick conversation. She'd forgotten it entirely. Apparently, Daniel hadn't. "Don't remove my name," Victoria heard herself say. "But maybe we should talk, properly." That evening, Daniel and Maya came to Victoria's office after hours. Maya immediately gravitated to the floor to, ceiling windows, pressing her hands against the glass. "She loves patterns," Daniel explained. "City lights and grids calm her." "Tell me about her," Victoria said. Daniel talked. about his ex-wife leaving when Maya's diagnosis came, about working nights so he could be available during school hours, about Maya's brilliance with numbers and patterns, her struggles with social interaction, the schools that wanted to put her in special education despite her being gifted. "She's not broken," Daniel said firmly, "just different. But the world isn't built for different, and I don't have the money to get her into programs that understand that." Victoria watched Maya trace patterns on the window, humming softly. Something in the girl reminded Victoria of herself at that age, struggling to fit into a world that didn't make sense. "What if I could help?" Victoria asked. Daniel stiffened. "We don't need charity, not charity, opportunity." Victoria pulled out her tablet. "I started a foundation last year for neurodivergent education. We fund specialized programs for kids whose brains work differently. Maya would qualify. Ms. Sterling, Victoria, and before you refuse out of pride, know that this is selfish. I built a company, made a fortune, and realized I have nobody to share it with. No family, no real friends, just employees and board members. Helping Maya helps me remember why success matters." Daniel was quiet for a long moment. "Why us?" "Because 6 months ago, you reminded me that people behind the titles matter, and today, Maya taught me that different isn't broken. I'd like to be part of her life, if you'll let me." Over the following months, Victoria became an unexpected presence in their lives. She funded Maya's enrollment in a specialized program, attended parent meetings with Daniel, learned about autism, sensory processing, the beautiful complexity of neurodivergent minds. Maya started calling her Aunt Victoria. Daniel stopped being uncomfortable around her. One Saturday, Victoria took them to the Science Museum. Maya was fascinated by the mathematics exhibit, explaining complex patterns that Victoria, MIT graduate, barely followed. "She's extraordinary," Victoria said to Daniel. "She is, but the world doesn't always see it." "Then we change the world," Victoria replied, "or at least our part of it." She started small, hired more neurodivergent employees at Sterling Technologies, created sensory-friendly workspaces, established mentorship programs. The changes improved everyone's productivity and happiness. Maya became her inspiration and her teacher. 2 years later, Victoria sat in the audience as 10-year-old Maya presented her mathematics project at a gifted students' conference. The girl who'd been labeled disruptive and difficult was explaining computational patterns to a room of impressed academics. Daniel sat beside Victoria, tears in his eyes. "Thank you for seeing her, for believing she wasn't broken. She taught me I wasn't broken either," Victoria said quietly. "I spent 60 years believing something was wrong with me because I didn't fit the mold. Maya showed me that different is just different. Not less, not wrong, just beautifully, perfectly different." After the presentation, Maya ran to them. Did you see? Did you see everyone listening?" "We saw," Victoria said, hugging her. "You were magnificent, just like you said. Different but not broken." That night, Daniel invited Victoria to their small apartment for dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta and salad, but it felt more like home than Victoria's mansion ever had. "Can I ask you something?" Daniel said after Maya went to bed. "Of course. Why did you really put your name as emergency contact? You barely knew me." Victoria smiled. "Honestly, I was having the worst day. The board was pushing me out because of my age. I felt invisible and useless. Then this janitor I'd talked to once trusted me enough to make me responsible for his daughter's safety. It reminded me I mattered. Not as a CEO, as a person. You matter to us," Daniel said simply. "Maya adores you, and He paused. "I'm grateful every day that you stopped in that stairwell, that you saw us as people worth knowing. You gave me a family," Victoria replied, "when I thought it was too late for that." 4 years later, Victoria stood at Maya's middle school graduation. The girl who'd melted down from overwhelming social situations now gave the valedictorian speech about embracing differences and understanding that everyone's brain works uniquely. "My Aunt Victoria taught me that different isn't broken," Maya said to the packed auditorium. "She showed me that the things that make me different are actually my strengths. She believed in me when the world said I was too much or not enough. And she proved that family isn't always blood." Sometimes it's the people who choose to see you, love you, and fight for you. Victoria cried through the entire speech. Daniel reached over and squeezed her hand. Thank you, for everything, for her, for us. Thank you for letting me be part of this, Victoria whispered. For showing me that success isn't what you build. It's who you love. That evening in Victoria's office with Maya tracing patterns on the windows like she had years ago, Daniel made an announcement. I got promoted, building operations manager. Better pay, day hours. I can finally give Maya everything she needs. That's wonderful, Victoria said genuinely. It is, but Victoria, Daniel hesitated. We don't need your financial help anymore. I want you to know that you're not obligated to stay involved. You've done more than enough. Victoria looked at Maya, still humming and tracing, perfectly content. She looked at Daniel, nervous and proud and kind. She thought about the past, 4 years, the best years of her life. I'm not staying because of obligation, Victoria said. I'm staying because you're my family, the only real family I've ever had. If you'll have me. Maya turned from the window. Always, Aunt Victoria. You're ours and we're yours. That's what family means. If this story reminded you that different isn't broken and that family is built through love and acceptance, please like and share it. Subscribe for more stories about unexpected connections and the beauty of neurodivergent minds. And comment about someone who saw you truly and loved you anyway. Sometimes the people who seem most different teach us the most important lessons about being human.